DreAllDay.com.
You are now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve is yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. That's the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques, all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is what is and what are some of the things that are more important than the stuff that you sell. So this episode is for all the salespeople out there, and all of us as a salesperson on some level. And what are the things that you need to be paying attention to in addition to paying attention to actually selling the things, whether that's an offer, a service, a product, etc. And you'll understand what I mean, of course, as we get into this episode. But before we do that, first of all, let me tell you about it. I have a daily motivation text message that I send out every single day, free of charge, to everyone who's in my text community. You should be in that text community. So here's what you need to do to get it. Hit me at this number, 305-384-6894. Send me a text right there, and every day you'll be getting a daily motivation text free of charge straight to your phone. The number, again, 305-384-6894, guaranteed to keep you focused, sharp, and on point, the daily motivation that is. So text me at that number while you are listening to this right here. So with the stuff that you sell, for all the salespeople out there, one of the biggest challenges that I find with people who are in sales, especially solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, who have made their own products and services, thusly they are very emotionally connected to them, is that they falsely believe that the quality of the thing that they sell is the determining factor in how much or how well or if their products or services will sell at all. That is actually not true. Now, the quality of the thing that you're selling does matter, but it is not the most important determining factor. Today, I'm going to share with you some things that are more important determining factors than just the thing, meaning the training package, the coaching program, the course, the book, the car, the t-shirt, etc. What is more important than those things in order for you to actually consummate a transaction, make a sale, and make money? Now, does that sound like a conversation you're interested in? Good. Point number one. Today's topic, once again, what's more important than the stuff you sell? First thing you have to understand, and remember this, burn this on your brain. People buy people. People buy things because they like the people who are making the sale. Now, it is possible someone will give you a shot just because you have some product or service that is pretty great. They'll give you a shot, maybe because of that. But usually people buy things because they like the person behind what is being sold, or the story of that person, or the approach of that person, or they relate in some way, shape, or form to the person behind the thing that is being sold, or the personality that is doing the selling. Because the personality could be the entity. It doesn't have to be an individual. So someone could like Ronald McDonald and they'll buy McDonald's because they like Ronald McDonald, even though Ronald McDonald doesn't own the company. People do not buy stuff. People buy people. Everybody got it? People buy solutions to their problems from people who they like. They do not buy stuff. And people will stick around or leave whoever they bought from simply because they connect with or don't connect with the person. Keep this in mind. All right, burn this on your brain for any type of sale or any type of influence or persuasion you're ever attempting to have in life. You need to remember this. I used to be president of Toastmasters in Miami Beach. And this is right around the time when I was transitioning out of basketball. And if you don't know what Toastmasters is, it's a volunteer group where people meet on a regular basis to work on communication skills, whether that be listening skills or speaking skills. Actually, a combination of both. So people get up in front of the room and talk and give speeches about stuff. People listen, give feedback. We help people with their enunciation, their grammar, making sure they're not using too many word fillers. Talk about the substance of what they're talking about. Just help people with communication skills, where people get comfortable being uncomfortable when it comes to the skill of public speaking, which is something that a lot of people have a lot of anxiety, fear, and challenges around. That's basically what Toastmasters does. Now, when I was president of this group, some people I found out, because when people would come into the group, I would always ask them, when it comes to the club, I would always ask them, what is it that brings you here? Why did you show up? What are you looking to get out of it? Some people did it because their job told them, hey, you need to go to Toastmasters and give 10 speeches just to say that you took care of this. It's kind of like a continuing education credit they would get for whatever line of work they were in. Some people did it for that reason. Some people did it for professional needs. Maybe they wanted to be a professional speaker and they wanted to work on their speaking skills or practice some of their speeches. I personally joined because that's what I thought it would help me not actually practice my speaking skills, but it would help me find how to get into giving speeches and getting paid for it. Come to find out, that's not even what Toastmasters does, but I still was able to make connections through my participation in Toastmasters to get into the professional speaking world, even though that's not exactly what they were offering. I didn't get it through the official, some official Toastmasters channel, but some people do it for that. Again, some people want to get better at listening or speaking. Some people did it for their professional business. Some people did it for personal development. They just want to get better. It's just a skill that they wanted to develop. They weren't trying to go get paid to give speeches. They weren't being required to do it for their job, but they just wanted to work on themselves and just improve themselves in one way. And they saw that as something that they wanted to get better at. But once I became president and I started to really get to know everyone who was in the club, and everyone who came through the club was coming to me, and I got to talk to more and more people, I noticed the main thing that kept people coming back, and the main thing that kept people showing up, and the main thing that kept people not coming back was one thing, and it was none of the above that I've mentioned already. Here's what it was. It was how they were being treated by the other people in the group. People who showed up to, let's say they came to the first meeting for them to show up to, if nobody talked to them, if they didn't meet a few people, if they didn't shake hands with a bunch of people and make friends and feel like they were being welcomed, they usually did not come back, even though they said the reason that they came was for work, even though the reason that they came was so they could practice their speech, even though they came because they wanted to work on their speaking skills. Listen, we could provide that, but if they didn't feel like they were being welcomed, they didn't feel like people were warm towards them, they would not come back. But the people who did get welcomed, the people who did meet other people, other members, people who were included in the conversations with people who had already been there before, those people kept showing up. Those people kept coming back, to the point that probably within my first month of being president of the club, whenever I would give my closing remarks, every time we had a meeting, I would give the closing remarks, and I would always say this out loud in front of the whole room. I would say, I want everyone in here. First of all, we would always call on the new people. So whoever was new, who hadn't been there before, and everything I'm telling you here has nothing to do with you going to Toastmasters or being a part. But this point here is important for you to understand people skills. We would always point out who the new people are, call on them, let them introduce themselves. Why you come here? Where'd you come from? What do you want to get out of it? What you notice about the meeting and all that stuff. And I would always say to the incumbents, the people who had already been there before, I would say, okay, all of you who are here, who've been here before, you see who the new people are, right? All right, everybody sees who the new people are? Okay, I want to make sure each one of you old people introduce yourself to a new person. Go shake the hands of the new person. Introduce yourself, tell them who you are, tell them where you're from, get to know them, exchange contact information, make these new people feel welcome, because you got to give people a reason to do it. They weren't going to do it just because I said so. Because if we want this club to expand and you want to be able to learn from more high quality people, that means we need to keep a steady flow, a steady influx of new blood coming into the club. And the way that we keep a steady influx of new blood is that the new people, when they show up, we got to keep them coming back. And the way we keep them coming back is for you all, incumbents, to make them feel like they belong, even though you don't know them. So introduce yourself, shake their hands. Don't just talk to the people you already know. Talk to somebody who you don't know. I want everyone in this room, before you leave here tonight, to shake the hand of someone who you don't know. And I would say that out loud in those exact words every day at the end of our meetings. And magically, here's what happened. More people started coming to our meetings. Our club started to expand. The club started to grow. And we had new blood coming in simply because people buy people. Understand? The reason why I'm telling you all of that background before I got to that point is because people came there for their job told them to do it. They need to do it for their business, or they want to get better at speaking. We could handle all of those regardless of who was in the club. It could just be me in there, and if people would come back if that's all they wanted. But the reason that people would either keep coming or not keep coming had nothing to do with the stuff that Toastmasters offered. It had nothing to do with the actual speaking skills or communication tools or learning how to speak or public. It had nothing to do with any of that shit. The reason that they would either keep coming or not keep coming was whether or not they felt welcomed by the other human beings in the room, period. Had nothing to do with the actual tangible thing that the group offered. Everybody understand what I'm saying and why I told you that story? I had nothing to do with it had nothing to do with communication skills, whether people were getting better at not, because there were a lot of people in that club, to be honest, who would keep coming to the meetings every week. They didn't really get better at communicating. Over the course of a year, 6 months, their communication skills didn't get any better from when they first showed up to when they left. Their speeches didn't get any better. They were not any funnier. They didn't get better at removing the word fillers from their conversation. They didn't get better at listening. Their skills, some people's skills did not improve at all the entire time they were there. A lot of people there were not actually getting better, even though they claimed they came to get better. But they kept showing up. You know why they kept showing up? Because they felt like they had friends in the room. For the most part, most of the people showed up and left at the same skill level they were at from the beginning. For the most part. That's just my observation as president of the club. People came back though because of the connections. And it's the same thing in your business. And it doesn't have to be a club where people meet every week in person. It can be your customers. It can be your clients. It can be the people who listen to your show. People who subscribe to your YouTube or follow you on Instagram. If they feel like they have a connection to the person, they'll keep showing up. Listen, your products and services may be amazing. All right, I believe that you're great. And I know that they are amazing because you made them, right? And your product, the thing is, your product will not always be the hottest product out there. What will keep people in your world, even when your product is not the main thing that they need in that moment, is the fact that people buy into you as a human being. Some people might leave and come back. They might be into you for a season and they come back later on when they're no longer in that season. I had a lot of basketball players follow me in my days when all of my material was basketball related. I don't talk about basketball hardly at all these days, but I still hear from these athletes all the time. I get a message from somebody who says, damn, Dre, I used to follow you all the time when I was playing basketball all the time. I don't play basketball anymore. So that in their basketball season, I was the guy for them to follow because that's what they were looking for. When they stopped playing basketball, they stopped following my stuff. They went and followed other people who were offering them what they needed at that moment. Then my name might pop up somewhere on their feed, or they might get an email, or they might see an ad that I'm running and say, damn, Dre, it's good to see that you're talking about other stuff now. All right, I might come back into your world because now you're talking about something that might actually relate to where I'm at because it's not basketball anymore. But they weren't sticking around just to see what I was going to do next. They had to do what they needed to do. The whole point is when they connect to the person, they will usually find their way back to you. People will always leave products. All right, there's always a new product coming out. Okay. How many of you still have your first smartphone? You probably got rid of it, don't even know what happened to it. You couldn't even imagine using something like that compared to what you have now, right? People always leave products behind, but we do not leave humans behind. Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, what are the things that are more important than the stuff that you sell? Number 2, have you ever stopped buying from a business that has a really good product simply because you didn't like the people? Any of you ever done that? You ever gone to a restaurant and the food was good enough? It was good enough that you would come back, but you had some bad experience with the hostess or a cook or the waiter or the manager, and because of that, you decided you would never come back to that business and you'll never spend another dollar there? Of course you have. You ever had a bad experience with some company online and they messed up your order and then they messed up the refund and you couldn't get a customer service person on the phone, or the agent was rude to you, and you're like, you know what, I'm never buying from these people again. All right, even once I get this settled, I'm never buying from them again. Any of you ever had that happen? Of course you have. Has any of you ever continued, and maybe still to this day, continue to purchase from a business that is, for the most part, their products and services are pretty mediocre, pretty average, simply because you like the people who run the business? Any of you ever did that? Of course you have. Everybody's done it. We have all stopped dealing with companies or businesses or people because we had a bad experience with a person that represented that customer or business. And we have all purchased things from companies or businesses that may have not had the best possible options for us. The stuff wasn't that great for us, but we kept coming back because we wanted to support the people, and we have bought into the people. When you like a person, their stuff doesn't have to be the best for you to keep supporting them. If someone likes you, you don't have to have better stuff than everybody else for them to keep supporting you. You just got to, as long as you keep that relationship, they'll keep buying from you. Relationships sell better than stuff sells. Everybody heard that? Relationships sell better than stuff sells. Your stuff will not always be the best stuff for a person given their season in life and given your competition. But relationships, you can always maintain those. And you can flip that equation around. Your prospects are looking at you this way. If they buy into you as a person, your product does not have to be the best in their eyes, but they'll stick around. I talked about this in episode 2114. Business is always personal and yet never personal. It's not about you personally, but it is about you personally, if that makes sense to you. Listen to episode 2114, you'll understand what I mean. Point number 3, today's topic, once again, what are the things that are more important than the stuff that you sell? Here's what you do with everything you've heard so far. You must learn to get people to buy into you as a person. They need to buy into fill in the blank with your name. That's the thing that keeps them around. If you are a business entity, people need to know that they need to know what your business is about and what your business stands for. The more clear you are on what your business is about and what it stands for, also what it's not about and what it doesn't stand for, the more easily people can decide to buy into you. That's why people stick around. In episode 878, I told you that the key for building a personal brand is to have a personality. What is your personality? What is your angle? What is your approach? What do you believe in? What do you hate? You need to make these things clear. The more clear you make these things, the easier people can understand your personality, where you're coming from and who you are, and the better they can make a decision whether to buy into you and go all in or get away from you. And you want to make this clear for people. Why? Why would you want to, and you might be thinking to yourself, Dre, I get the part about getting people to buy in, but why would I want to get anyone to get away from me? Why would I want to make it clear that someone should go away from me? Because here's the thing. Every piece of mail you send out, every advertisement click that you get, all the attention that you're drawing from people, you don't want tepid attention from people. You don't want people who are kind of in on you. You want people who are in kind of surface level on you because they're never going to go deep, and you're giving your attention, money, and energy to these people who aren't even that in on you. You want people who are all the way in and people who are all the way out. The more clear they are and the more clear you can make them get, the better for you. So that you're only talking to people who are all the way in. And the only way they can go all the way in is if you get really, really clear as to who you are, what you're about, and what you're not about, so that they know. If you're skimming the surface, they're going to skim the surface. And if you don't want a whole audience of people who are just skimming the surface with you. It's better to have a small audience, whatever you consider small, of people who are all the way in on you than a big audience of people who are just skimming the surface with you, because they will leave you just as quickly as they came in. But the people who are all the way in ain't going anywhere ever. You understand the difference? This is how 100 subscribers can be better than 1,000. This is how 1,000 customers can make you more money than 10,000 customers. 1,000 all-in customers are better than 10,000 surface level customers, because 1,000 all-in customers will spend 100 times more money per person than the 10,000 kind of in subscribers or customers. You follow me? So what is your angle? Your approach? What do you believe in? What do you hate? What do you do in your business? What is your business about? What is your business not about? What do you absolutely not stand for and will never accept or tolerate? What are some things you believe that other people think is absolutely crazy? What are some things that you are about that you know would offend people, but you still will never change your mind about it? What are those things? The more open you are about these, the more clear you are about these, the more people can make easy decisions about whether to keep dealing with you or get the hell away from you. These are the things that get people in on you or out on you, even when the stuff that you offer is not necessarily what they need right now. Might not necessarily be the biggest hook for you. They'll stick around until you offer something that they need. Then they'll buy that. And they'll keep sticking around even if you're not selling the thing that they need, simply because they buy into you as a person. Human beings are social creatures. We want that social connection. But if you don't share who you are and what you're about, people can't connect with you. It's kind of like you trying to make friends with people, but you don't want to talk. Now, you want them to talk all day about themselves, but you won't talk about you. How can anybody be your friend? They don't know what you're about. They don't know who you are. They don't know what you bring to the table because you won't share it. This is why you got to put your personality out there for other people to see so they can make decisions about you. And I understand that this is a psychological danger for some of you, like we talked about 2 days ago, but that danger also carries with it, on the opposite side, the reward. If you had the balls to say something out loud. Notice that I've talked about this so many times because it's that important, yet I see people continually violating this. Let's recap today's class, which is what's more important than the stuff you sell. This is for all people who sell anything, and everybody is selling something. Point number one, people buy into people. We do not buy stuff. We buy to solve our problems from people who we like. That's it. The stuff is completely, it's not even secondary, it's tertiary. People stick around or leave because of the people that they like. When I was president of Toastmasters Miami Beach, most of the people showed up and left with the same skill level that they had when they first came in. The reason that they stuck around or left or didn't stick around was because they made a connection with the people in the club. It had nothing to do with the skills that we offered or the transformation or how much better they got at communication, because honestly, as I said, most of the people there came and left with the exact same skill set. It had nothing to do with actual communication skills. And for the most part, this is how human beings work. Being that we're social creatures, we buy into people, we stick around for the people, and we leave because of the people. People will leave products very easily. We do not leave humans. Point number two, have you ever stopped buying from a business that had a pretty good product because you didn't like the people there? You ever stayed with a mediocre business because the products weren't that great, but you like the people? Of course, we have all done it. You ever decided that you never spend another dollar with a company because you had a bad customer service experience with a manager or a customer service rep or a hostess or a maintenance man? Of course, we all have had that experience. Why is this? Because our connection to the people matters more than the quality of the product. We can easily replace a product for the most part. It's very hard to replace people. So flip that equation around and understand that your prospects are looking at you the exact same way. If they buy into you as a person, your product does not have to be great. They will keep buying from you and they will stick around until you offer them something that they actually want, even if you're not doing it right now. As I said in episode 2114, business is always personal, but it's also never personal. Listen to that episode, you'll know what I mean. And point number three, what you need to do is get people to buy into you as a person, which means share your personality. This is what keeps people around. What is your angle? What's your approach? What do you believe in? What do you hate? What do you have a mindset around you in your business that separates you from other businesses, separates you from other people? What do you absolutely not stand for? What would you never accept? What would you never tolerate? What are some things you believe that other people think is crazy? What are some things you know that would offend people if you told them what you thought, but you don't care that they would be offended by it because you believe in it so much? These are the things that get people to buy into you, even when the stuff that you sell is not necessarily what they need. You don't believe me, go try it and you'll see. Or if you don't want to believe me, just keep doing what you've been doing. Now, how's that working out for you? I already know how it's working out because I see this every single day from people who haven't offered any of their personality and what they're doing in business, and then they wonder why they're not getting traction or able to maintain it. All this said, three things. Number one, get my daily motivation text free by texting me at 305-384-6894. Number two, subscribe to get my bulletproof bulletin. Every single month, I give you your first issue free along with a bunch of bonuses. All you got to do is go to bulletproofbulletin.com. And number three, join my Bulletproof Mastermind. That is my group coaching program where we are going to help you get clear on your business structure. We're going to meld your personal and professional growth at the same time. I'm going to take complex challenges that you're dealing with right now, complex issues. I'm going to simplify them to a way that is so bite-sized that you can understand it, do something with it, and actually apply it to get results in your life and in your business. All of that is at workonyourgameuniversity.com. So 1, 2, 3, text, get the bulletin every month to your mailbox, physical mailbox, and join the mastermind. Work on your game. Dre, all